What's up, folks? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. Today's video, we're going to be doing our summon pool pulls. So let's jump right into that and let's talk about what the champions are that are up for grabs. So with 3.5 days left in this event, at the time of upload, some of the information here might be relevant to you guys. So obviously we have the 6% legendary, 94% chance at an epic, identical odds to a sacred shard. But is this better than a sacred shard? If you were to say yes, it would be hard to say, because unless you really value this pool of champions, I would say it's probably not as good as a sacred shard, because you can't bank these for summon pool events, summon rush events. Obviously, you can't use them during a champion chase if there's no champion chase active. So you can't really save these in any ways. For example, I have 80 of these crystals right now, and I'm forced to pull them all in 3.5 days. So I'm forced to participate in this pool event. I don't particularly think this pool event is that great. However, some of the pool events recently have not been that great. They've been featuring these faction unity champions. Now, I don't think Dune Lord Greggor is bad or anything, but obviously, if you read his faction ally abilities, they're obviously catered towards champions like Armanz. He would absolutely make Armanz insane. But for me, I'm not overly excited about him. I don't see immediate use for him or anything. And none of these champions in particular are particularly interesting to me. But I could see early or mid-game players being very, very excited about somebody like Alsgore Crimson Horn. He has the 4-turn block damage, so you can build him for Iron Twins. You can build him for Clan Boss. You can definitely make teams around him, and he can be super useful. I did highlight Elder Scar in a recent video where he was kind of like a diamond in the rough. He has a 3-turn AoE HP burn, no books needed, so very, very good for an early game champion, early game pull, especially if you're progressing through Spider, for example. Cantra, she's great for like auto Hydra teams because she brings the AoE a bunch of debuffs, which are very relevant for Hydra, like decreased speed, decreased attack, weaken, block buffs especially. And then she brings an AoE provoke, which kind of just happens every turn, so you don't even need to attack. She's very good for, like, obviously autoing Hydras. Put her in a curse set or relentless set, and then she can do a lot of work for you. We also have Armanz, which is obviously a super insane PvP champion, bringing the AoE stuns, turn meter steal, and then the sheep shenanigans with the passive sheep shenanigans stuff. Would I want a second one? Yeah, sure, I would love one just for basically filling up my faction guardians. Would I build a second one? Yeah, I'd probably build a second one just for like tag team arena or something like that. He would also be a candidate to be empowered eventually, just because of how strong he is in arena currently. Valkyrie, I have 2 of her already on, I think, both my accounts. She's a game changer for early mid-game rosters that are still looking for clan boss progression. She's decent in arena as well, but since the introduction of Stone Skin, which basically shuts down her passive turn meter, she has been less useful for sure. But yeah, she has some insane base defense, so her shields can get super insanely big with this A2 here standing firm. One of the few team-wide counterattack teams, also very good for hard Fire Knight as well. After the epics here, Teshta, we have her here. I actually highlighted this revive ability. It's really, really good actually. But the rest of her kit is not that good, but her revive is very cool. She does bring allies speed and faction crypts. We have Alika. She's one of the few champions with a lockout ability, so she does bring a lockout ability. She does bring a lot of reading ability. I don't know how many books she takes. 2, 4, 6, 7. 2, 4, 6. That's 13. 2, 4, 6, 7. 20 books? Is that for real? 20 books for this champion. She has a she does have a max HP. No, sorry, ignore defense hit here, so she can smack a little bit, and then she has the lockout ability. Kind of a cool combination. Armina brings AoE decreased defense, some turn meter stuff, so she can be okay against, like, for example, Spider or something. AoE stun as well. Very low base defense though. Jolton, kind of useless. No thank you. Aina, not too sure. She brings a single target weaken, 3-turn weaken, single target decreased defense. And a heal, I mean, it's just definitely not that great. Hospital can be okay, brings an AoE stun on a 3 turns, so it can be very, very good. And then he has like a remove stun debuff from all allies, then places increased defense, increased resistance on a 4 turn. Pretty weak A3, but the A2 is incredibly good. And he's immune to stun himself. I mean, it can be good for faction wars, but Barbarian faction wars is pretty stacked just with Syl the Drakes, right? And then you have Farrakhan the Fat, one of the better ally attack champions. Keep in mind that his ally attack does not include himself, so he's not as good as his legendary counterparts, but he's still a very, very good champion, brings tons of damage against clan boss, A1, decreased defense, and then he brings HP burn and poisons on his A2, so just a damage powerhouse against clan boss. After that, we have Vala. Vala brings A1 shield, A2 AoE, decreased defense, and then the A3 with the 3 turn cooldown, shield on this champion, and then increased defense on this champion for 3 turns, and turn meter increase on this champion. So it's kind of an interesting self buff only, not really feeling it. Decreased damage received by this champion of 15% while under a shield buff. How come this is not your whole team and this is not your whole team? That would be pretty cool, right? Like, we already have like passives that reduce damage, like for example Geomancers reduce damage from from enemies under HP burn. Like, why can't this be all allies under shield buff, not just herself? She's so selfish. Why so selfish? Haikatun, first month login champion, still a good champion overall, but obviously since she's the login, she's not going to be super important, but it's still a decent epic. Lastly, we have Wool Painted. She brings the attack one enemy, block active skills, and then she has a heal here, which is pretty good. She has a cleanse from this on herself, and then a half cleanse, 1 random debuff from all allies, then heals by 100%, and then the over heal will heal your team. It actually can be some pretty crazy healing going on with this champion. She was buff not too long ago, but she was kind of like a meme before, but now she was actually became like a decent healer. Not bad, but obviously I don't want any of these epics. I think I only want obviously the cool faction unity champion, or obviously another Armanz would be good. But any of these champions I think I'll be happy with to fill up the faction guardian. So let's jump right into it. We got 3 pulls here on the alt, 3 pulls on the main. Let's go. We don't have a champion chase or anything like that, so happy to pull here. All right, welcome aboard Teshida. We got 2 more to go. Definitely don't expect any gold, that's for sure. Expectations are hyper low. Yep, nothing on the alt, so let's jump to the main. I'm not going to cash in my other crystals. So if you guys didn't know, you guys can wait on your crystals. So for example, once I reach this threshold, I'm just going to let this timer expire, and then once it's like grayed out, I'm just going to let that expire, and then it will end up here after the pool has ended, and then we can use those crystals for the next pool, for example. So if this pool is not interesting to you, you could do that to save some crystals for the next pool. Just a little tip. All right, so let's jump on the main account and pull there as well. All right, guys, so back on the main account here, we're going to do the same thing here. See here, we have 75 of these quartz crystals, and we're ready to pull here 3 times as well. So hoping for a Lego. This account did not participate in the extra legendary event for the sacred shards, just because I want to save my 26 sacred shards from this account for a guarantee or a deck of fate or whatever that may come our way. But I was at 26 sacreds with 0 mercy, so I didn't want to take the chances of pulling any sacreds. Looks like no Lego from Prism shards. So all epics. I mean, 94% chance at an epic. Keep in mind, guys, that each one of these costs so 20 of these crystals cost $5 US, which means 25 of them. What does that cost? 25 of them cost what, like $6.50? I mean, if you compare it to a sacred shard, it's cheap, but still a pretty long shot here, so you probably have to buy a lot of them. Yeah, these are big money makers, I guess. But anyways, guys, that's gonna be it for the video. Best of luck on your Prism shard pulls. Like I said, if you guys don't like the pool, make sure you guys hold on to your Prism shard crystals by not collecting them, and then you guys can use them for the next summon pool. All right, guys. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, I'll see you guys in the next video.